Hey there, it's Mike here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a video called 17 Money Secrets to Make Your First Million from a channel called Iman Gadzhi. This guy has 2.5 million subscribers, very successful businessman. He's made a lot of money online. I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a like. If you guys can like this video as well, it really helps out with my YouTube channel and I appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Let's jump into it and see what these 17 money-making secrets are so we can make our first million.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to listen very, very closely to today's video because
it sounds very serious. We got the serious music playing.
In today's video, I'm going to show you the 17 money secrets to make your first million. These are the money secrets I used to make my first $100,000, my first $1 million, my first $10 million.
Got some nice video editing here, adding in this B-roll footage.
And then tens of millions since then. This is not going to be your, hey, save money on Starbucks, or your, hey, invest in a 401k and eventually you'll make $1 million. This is for the people
here's the thing, like the 401k thing, those are the solid ways of actually doing it though. I mean, everyone wants to make money fast, and I understand that, but there are some solid principles as well.
They are serious about making their first million, and not only that, but turning 1 million into many millions more, not only for yourself, but for your future family. So on that note, grab a pen and paper and let's get into it. So the first secret is that money is a never-ending game and you should treat it as such. I understand your position. You're looking at $1 million and you're thinking, wow, if I had $1 million, my life would totally change.
It really doesn't change that much. Like once you've made your first million, it's nice, but it doesn't change as much as you think it will.
And yes, of course, your life will get better, but just understand when you reach your first million, what do you think? You're going to stop the game? You're going to be happy? You're going to keep playing the game. You're going to keep going. And the only way to stay sane is understand that money is a never-ending game. The only people that get depressed or think that money will ruin your life are the people that think that money is a destination, some sort of figure, some sort of number.
It's more of a tool, not a destination. It's just a way of getting that sense of well-being and that just being able to feel secure that, okay, if you lose like all your business and everything, you've got that money to fall back on.
End of your life, it's you've accomplished it and you're done. As long as you wake up and you play this game understanding that you will be just as unhappy when you have $10,000 in your bank account as you will when you have $10 million, that means not happy with your financial situation. That doesn't mean you won't be proud. You can be very proud with your financial situation, but doesn't mean that you'll ever be content or you'll be happy, because this is a never-ending game. So treat it as such.
One thing I recommend, by the way, as far as like making it kind of like a game, is make sure you download the Mint app. It's free. I've never paid anything for it. And just put all your stuff in it, put all your assets and loans and bank accounts and all that stuff. It's a really great way of monitoring how much money you've got. So you can kind of monitor how much you're going up, how much you're going down. And I don't know, for me, it's been really helpful.
Money secret is learn when to say, I don't have the appetite for that right now. One of the reasons I did so well in my career is I understand that my main businesses now, which are software companies, I understood that these were very difficult businesses. They were very hard businesses and they required a lot of money to start, which is why 5 years ago when I had the opportunity to get involved in them, I simply said, I don't have the appetite for that right now. And there's even industries and businesses and ventures that can make me hundreds of millions of dollars. And I say, I'm sorry, I don't have the appetite for that right now. And the appetite for it may mean either the hunger or sacrificing a certain life. So you need to understand when to pick the right vehicle and when to pick the right opportunity for your career stage.
And in your age, like if I had to go back and start doing what I do now, same thing now. Like I had a lot more energy 10 years ago than I do right now. And I'm only in my early 40s. And it just over time, I'm sure some of you can relate to that as well. When you get older, it just gets harder to have the energy to get into all these different projects.
It's kind of like you're doing bench press. You start off with 1 plate until you can work your way up to 2 plates, 3 plates, etc. One of the worst things that you can do is commit to a business idea, to a venture, to an endeavor, and say that you're going to give it your all, or say that you're going to push when you know that either you don't have the ability or you simply just don't have the commitment and the hunger. And by the way, that is totally fine. It's fine to understand that there are certain opportunities that you simply don't have the appetite for right now.
You're just not ready for them.
And that doesn't mean that you'll never have the appetite for it. The next money secret is that it's never possible until you see it. And either you see it online or even more.
I don't get it.
Powerful, you see it in person. This is why I've said for years and years and years publicly on YouTube, rather than going to Starbucks and spending $6 or whatever it is on a coffee, go to a fancy hotel lobby, go to a nice restaurant and spend $10 on a coffee. Because listen, even at the fanciest place on earth, what, you spend maybe, $15 on a coffee? Okay, great. Maybe you spend $9 more than you normally would on a coffee, but you can sit there for 45 minutes sipping on your coffee, looking around, and when you realize there are certain people with $250,000 on their wrist, when you look at truly wealthy...
See, for me, that doesn't excite me that much. I'm not a person to really show my wealth. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't have fancy clothes. For me, I don't really need to show that. That's not really a driving force. For me, it's always been about family and security.
People, and you realize, hey, most of the times they don't really wear brands. Most of the times they are very under the radar. When you look at wealthy people and you see the way that they move and the way that they act, you first of all start to observe it, but you also start to realize, if your reality is, I can't imagine making more than $50,000 a year, and someone is literally sitting down with $150,000 on their wrist or whatever the number may be, it totally changes and it shifts your reality. This is also why, if you can, just walk around affluent areas. Whatever the nice area of your city is, go there, walk around, see all of the money, see all of the wealth, and it will start to sink into your subconscious that it is possible.
Maybe it's a little bit, when it comes to all this kind of wishy-washy stuff here, a long time ago, I used to really think that it was kind of a little bit BS, like The Secret and whatnot, that book. I've never read it. I should read it before I say bad things about it. But at this point, I still think that you do need to have a good mindset where you need to understand that some of these things really are possible. If you don't have the right kind of mindset, that can stop you. But just be aware, mindset is one thing, action is what takes you from having good mindset into actually making it into something real.
Now, the next money secret is aim to make money fast, but build wealth slowly. So listen, there's no such thing as get rich quick.
Agree.
But there is such a thing as get rich quicker. There's certain vehicles in life where you can get compensated far more for your time that you put in, for the talent and the skill that you develop in that vertical than you would if you spent 1,000 hours working in a different industry. So listen, never rush.
That really, for me, that when I got my first job, I was working in a graveyard pushing a lawnmower. And I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I was making like $6 an hour, and I had like 40 hours a week. And I told my dad about it, I remember, and he was like, okay, like now get a job where you're getting paid more. Like you need to take your hours that you have. You only have so many hours that you can work, and you really need to make sure that you're getting paid the most for them. And for me, it really changed when I was able to do things that will pay me when I sleep, like creating YouTube videos or doing affiliate marketing or things like that. So it really, if you're able to take it from where you're not getting paid for hours that you're working, and you're just paid for the time, like put in the time one time, you get paid over and over again, that's when things really start to change.
Process, but of course, try to make money as fast as possible. Try to become rich as quick as you can. But rich and wealthy are two very different things. So aim to build your wealth slowly, because true wealth is only built through years and years and decades of wisdom, of learning the right money lessons again and again and again. So aim to become rich quick, but aim to become wealthy slowly, because that's the only way that you will keep it. Number 5 is ignore money advice from the financially illiterate. I truly believe
so many people want to give money advice. So many people want to tell you what to do with your money, especially people that don't have it. So just be careful.
In this world, it is a matter of the financially literate and the financially illiterate. And it doesn't matter what background, what color, race, religion, whatever it is. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's simply a matter of financially literate and financially illiterate. You know, my mother, bless her, I love her to death. Single mother from Russia, gave up her entire life for me. It's funny, she was a high school dropout, I'm a high school dropout, but the only difference between us is I made sure that I was gonna learn from a young age the language of money, what money is, where it comes from, how it works. So there are people in your life that have the best intentions for you, that love you, that care for you, but you have to ignore their advice. So that way you can take care of not only you, but in future, take care of them.
One of my favorite books is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you guys haven't read it yet, definitely read it. It's great about giving you that financial education that a lot of people don't have.
Number 6, money is energy, and energy can never stay stagnant. I see this law where people make money and they are so afraid to spend that money. They're so afraid to circulate that money back into the economy. They're so afraid to release that energy, and they're living in such scarcity mindset that they just end up losing it all somehow.
Well, I think there's a difference between spending it frivolously or investing it. You don't want to just make it and then spend it thinking that I'm definitely going to get it back again. Like you don't know what opportunities are going to come and how much money you're going to make the next month. So be careful with that.
Or they may not lose it, but more money never flows to them. Money is energy. It's inflow and it's outflow. And that doesn't mean that everything that comes in must go out. No. In fact, especially in your 20s, you should be saving and investing majority of the money that you make. But never hoard that money, because if you do, the money becomes stagnant and you have cut off the flow of energy. Number 7,
I'd say hoard it. I'm definitely a hoarder.
is you need to build your peace of mind pot. This is a fund that gives you true peace of mind. This needs to be a safety net where you know that no matter what happens, no matter how ambitious, how big a risk you may even take, that you always have something to fall back on. I do not believe that money buys happiness, but I believe that money can, if you do it right, buy you peace of mind.
I remember back when the stock market crashed in 2020, when we had the whole epidemic and everything, I had a lot of my money in the stock market, and I made bad decisions because of that. And if I had had more money kind of in a cushion, I would have made less emotional decisions. So be careful about that. Have a cushion. Learn from me.
And bear in mind, that doesn't mean making a lot of money, because the person who makes $200,000 a year and only spends $40,000 and has a very big peace of mind pot, that person has far more peace in their life than the person who makes $20 million a year and manages to spend $19 million, because they're running on such thin margins and they're playing such a dangerous game. So from day one, if you can build your peace of mind pot, then that's great. And bear in mind, in my opinion, the older that you get and the larger that peace of mind pot gets, the more income that comes in, the higher the percentage that you can spend. So I'm not saying for the rest of your life you need to put away 80% of everything that you make. I'm just saying at the beginning, really build that peace of mind pot, so that way you're not going into your career stressed, but instead can focus because you understand that you're good. And then later down the line, once that pot's big enough, then go spend it. Never let anyone tell you that something is too expensive. If you have your finances in order, if you're always putting good money away, if you want to spend $100,000 on some stupid thing that no one else gets, but it makes sense for you financially, go spend it. I really don't agree and don't like all these people that make all this money and hoard it and keep it and don't do anything with it. At a certain point, you need to enjoy your life. And if you don't want to enjoy your life, go spend it on your loved ones, on the ones that you care about. Let them enjoy the spoils of your work.
I think one thing that people really need to be careful with is, like, if you're renting or you're buying an apartment or whatever, you need to be careful that your expenses aren't going to be much more than what you're making. Because if you get to a point where you are just getting by, you're going to get all stressed out about it. It's going to affect every aspect of your life.
But as I said, always keep your peace of mind pot. The next one is money is an identity. And it truly is. I'm telling you right now, you could work extremely hard, but if you have the identity of a poor person, it will always chain you. In life, you do not get what you deserve. You get what you think you deserve, because what you think you deserve dictates your actions, and your actions dictate what you actually get in life. It's very unfortunate. You see a lot of people in abusive relationships, and the reason they stay in those relationships is because they have some part of their identity that thinks they deserve it. Because the crazy thing is, after they get out of one abusive relationship,
I want to interject here about this. Like, I don't want people to think that your net worth is like what your worth is. Like, just because you don't have a lot of money doesn't mean that you're not like a good person. It's just one aspect of who you are, and it really isn't who you are. It's a net result of decisions that you've made. But some people really put like all their identity in just how much money that they have, and that can be pretty dangerous.
they find their way into another. So it is ingrained as a part of their identity. So you can have something that is as heartbreaking and unfortunate as that, but also from the extreme side of things, all the way to the person that just has an identity that they are not someone who is worthy or deserving of money. This is why I always tell people, go buy that $12 coffee at the hotel. Go into these affluent areas and just understand that these are normal people. They move differently, they talk differently, they carry themselves differently, but at the end of the day, these are just normal people. Now, the next one is that reputation can never be rebought. So
It's true. If you mess up your reputation, you're done.
Act accordingly. In life, you need to understand that you will always have the opportunity to make more money. but your reputation is almost impossible to claw back. So the next time you think about fucking over some business partner or cutting someone out of a deal when you made a promise, or in general just making money from dirty means, understand that your reputation will live with you for the rest of time. Your reputation carries on because just like Chinese whispers, people will talk and talk and it will continue to permeate. So when
people will talk, like people that you think like that they're just going to keep that with you. No, they're going to tell other people about it. They're going to say, oh, this person screwed me over. This person did that. Be careful.
Understand that your reputation is probably one of the most fragile things on earth. Never ever put it at risk because it's very hard to rebuy. Now the next one, and this is something very important that very few people do, is ask the hard questions before you get into a working relationship with someone. To me, it's bizarre to see that people get into business partnerships without asking the difficult questions of, hey, what happens if we have a disagreement? What happens?
It's really important. Like, what happens if things go south? Like, how do we get out of this? If we both, if one of us decides that they don't want to do this anymore, what are we going to do? Is one person going to buy the other person out? These things need to be discussed. I know they can be uncomfortable, but I actually prefer if someone talks to me about that before you get into a deal, because it just makes it easier in the long run.
If we have a fallout. Equally, it's very interesting to me that people hire someone full-time to represent them, their company, their brand, and they don't ask questions about someone's personal life. Someone's personal life is a very big testament to what they are like in a working professional setting. I can guarantee that if you go look at someone's car and it's full of trash and it's messy, that probably that reflects their quality of work and what they are like in the workplace. So just understand that it is much better to ask the awkward, uncomfortable, personal questions ahead of time and get it out of the way, because then you truly understand who you are going into business with and who you are working with.
Better to ask it before than ask it later.
You always want to think worst case scenario going into a working relationship with someone, understanding that very likely it won't happen, but at least you've explored that scenario together. Now, number 11 is that one man's opportunity is another man's downfall. There is a certain business opportunity that will probably make you a billionaire, but will probably wreck my career, and vice versa.
So I wonder what he's talking about.
Understand that not all opportunities are created equal. You need to assess an opportunity based on where you are in your career, what you're like as a person, you know, your strengths, your weaknesses, as well as your risk tolerance, how averse you are to risk.
Risk tolerance is so important. Some people, they love risk. I don't. I run away from it.
Not only risk, but stress. I'm the sort of person that can deal with immense amounts of stress, and I just have this ability to take on stress and responsibility because from a young age I had to take care of me and my mom, whereas for another person they may crumble. That doesn't mean that they're a bad entrepreneur or a bad business person or whatever it is. It just means that they're different. So my opportunity could be their downfall. So really just understand that concept when assessing what the next step is for you. The next one is that money flows where attention goes. So this is why it's very important that you audit where are you actually putting your attention, because wherever you're putting your attention, if you're putting it in bad things, for example, like video games, I know that everyone...
that's for me, that's one of the things that I've really put a lot of my time into. I have to actually go and delete some of them once in a while just because it's just taking way too much of my time. I ask myself, where do I want to focus my time? What's important to me? What's going to actually make me better? So it's really important to get rid of those negative things and focus on the ones that are actually going to improve you.
Everyone wants to debate me on this, but if you want to make your first million, if you are hungry, why on earth do you own a gaming console? Because number one, you might be...
I actually was going to buy a PlayStation 4 for the longest time, and I went back and forth, like, should I get one? Should I not get one? And I actually decided not to get one, just because I knew that it was going to take so much of my time that I could be focusing on my family and my business.
Roped into buying some extra, I don't know, what are they, skins? Some extra skin or gun attachment or some extra plug-in or limited edition bonus or I don't know, whatever the video games sell. So not only are you spending more of your hard-earned money on that game, you're also preventing yourself from actually going out and increasing your earning potential.
Also at the same time though, I don't want you to think that you shouldn't have like a hobby. Like I think everyone should have other stuff that they do other than just their business. So I mean, if video games are something that truly make you happy, and that's like the one thing that you're going to spend your time on that's other than like your business and things that are important, then fine. But just be careful about where you spend your time.
Getting closer to making that first million. So be very careful what you have in your environment, because as I said, money flows where attention goes. The next one, and this is very important if you are thinking about buying something, is if you damaged it or lost it, would it sting? Would it ruin your week or your, a couple weeks or months? Because here's the thing, let's say you bought something nice and it broke or got damaged. If that kind of affects you for an hour or maybe let's say even a few hours, but if that would ruin your whole day, your whole week, even a few weeks, it's simply not worth it, and you are not at a stage in life where you can afford it.
Maybe, but like, even if I bought I have a webcam here. If I broke my webcam, I'd still be kind of annoyed if I broke it. Like, it wouldn't ruin my week or anything, but I'd still be frustrated by it. So yeah, but you don't want things that are going to affect you so much that it just like completely destroys your week just because you break something like that. They're just things.
You can never get to a stage where the things you own end up owning you.
That's true.
Number 14 is that constraints are your friend. Especially when you're first starting your career or your business. If you have reasons to be resourceful and think outside the box, they are actually your best friend. Constraints actually allow you to think outside of the box, and it usually gives you a competitive advantage over the rest of your peers.
One thing you should always be looking for is what your advantage is. Like, some people, they are really good at talking. Some people are really good at writing. Like, whatever your advantage is, you should use that to your advantage. That could be your special superpower.
Number 15 is you need to understand that the velocity in which money comes in should quicken. Getting your first 100K in the bank is hard. Getting your first million in the bank is still very hard, but not as tough as the first 100. To go from 1 million to 10 million in the bank sometimes takes more time, but is a lot easier. And then honestly,
it might be easier because you've got more leverage. You've got more to use to actually take any ideas that you have and bring them into fruition.
To go from 10 to 100 million in the bank, it is substantially easier, but once again, the only
if he's got 100 million in the bank.
Factor that is different is it just takes a little bit more time. So just understand that the velocity, how quickly your income goes up, should quicken over time. So usually it's a slow, steady start, but then as you build up your skills, as you build up your wisdom, it actually gets quicker and also easier.
And you can leverage things more. Like, once you get to the point where you have money to be able to outsource and to hire a team, then you can get things done faster.
The next one is that moving money is in, moving money out is difficult. Buying the car is simply a matter of sending a wire. Selling the car can be a very difficult, painstaking process. The same applies to a house. The same applies to, even just certain investment vehicles and investment services. These things are very easy to get money in, but getting money out, there can be different terms, clauses, etc., etc.
You need to be really aware of that because, yeah, it's you buy it, you're like, oh, this is an investment. I can sell it whenever I want to, but then you get to a point where you're selling it at the wrong time. Are you going to be losing money? Are you going to maybe not be making as much money as you could have? You got to be careful.
So the next time that you look to put money somewhere or you look to invest in something, just ask yourself, how difficult will it be for me to get my money out of this?
I agree.
And number 17 is broaden your timeline. I kind of started off at the beginning of this video by saying that, listen, get rich quick, or try to get rich as quick as you can, but still broaden the timeline. The idea that you're going to go from, 0 to a million, actually million in the bank, which for me truly means that, you're a millionaire. The idea that you're going to do it in a few months or even that you're going to do it in a year is just unrealistic. Give yourself 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You know what? Maybe it even takes you 10 years.
You got to break it down into smaller goals as well. Like, you shouldn't have a goal of just making your first million. Like, your first goal should be to have 10,000 in the bank, then 50, then 100, then 200. I mean, you need to have those goals. If your goal is to make a million, it's going to seem way too far off.
As I said, the beauty of it is every year it gets easier, you get wiser, you get smarter, and the velocity in which money comes
Hopefully you get richer every year.
To you should increase over time. Once you've acquired the ability and the skills to make money, it just gets so much easier after that point. But remember, broaden your timeline. Be patient. All good things take time.
So what do you guys think of this? A little bit of a different kind of video today than we normally react to. Let me know in the comments below. Also, please like this video. It really helps out with my YouTube channel and I appreciate it. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in my next video. Thanks.